Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking every MCU show from worst to best. We're going to be talking about all 17 Marvel Studios shows that have ever released. I'm a big Marvel fan myself, of course. Got my X-Men tee on, got my Spider-Man 3 poster up, and yeah, I'm ready to get into all these. Going to be doing it in a tier list fashion, especially after the new release of Wonder Man, which I got around to watching, and you guys should go check out my review if you haven't already seen it, but listen, guys, if you guys like this type of video, please be sure to drop a like and also subscribe. That would mean the absolute world to me if you guys want to talk about movie shows and everything in between. But let's take a look at this tier list here. We've got a couple of tiers. Honestly, we only have 4 actual rating tiers and then one that's just haven't seen. So we've got awesome, good, and then bad. Keeping things pretty simple, and I say that we just get into it and not waste any more time. Kicking things off here with Marvel Zombies. I mean, this is one that technically isn't really canon, but I'd still say it's MCU because there really is official MCU characters and actors in it. I'm going to put this one in good. I think right off the bat, this was a solid kind of Elseworlds type of project from Marvel Studios. Would I say that it's really anything super memorable necessarily or just over the top incredible? No, but at the same time, it was a really fun time, and in a way, I don't want to kind of spoil myself here. I think it was even better than what they did with What If, because this entire show is essentially a What If type of show, but it just spins it off with zombies, and it kind of spins off that Marvel Zombies episode from the What If show. So I just feel like it did it a bit better. It was a lot more interesting. The characters were more fleshed out, and because of the fact that it was animated, obviously you had way less restrictions and constraints, so that just made it a lot easier to do some crazy stuff with it. From there, we have I Am Groot. Have not seen this. I don't think it's offensive to say this is for toddlers, literally. Probably never going to watch this. It's basically just for babies, and I have basically no interest. This is a controversial one here, Daredevil Born Again. I have not seen it, actually. I just haven't had the chance to get around to watching the original Daredevil show, and if I haven't seen that, I don't want to watch this yet. I've heard great things. At some point, I probably will end up watching it, but unfortunately, I just haven't had the time to get around and seeing it yet, but I definitely will see it at some point, because Season 2 looks good. I watched that trailer. It looks awesome. Secret Invasion. Awful. This is maybe the worst MCU show. This had so much potential for what it was, some type of Invasion of the Body Snatchers type of story in the MCU. Doing it in a show is a bit awkward as is, because I've always said this could have been an entire phase. Imagine they dedicated one phase, maybe even just 3 or 4 movies and maybe 2 shows to this. Would have been perfect in my opinion, but instead, they went with 6 episodes, which is okay, because maybe they're just trying to contain an invasion from actually happening, which they kind of tried to do here. But the writing was horrible. Nick Fury was character assassinated like I've never seen before, and it was utterly boring for 6 episodes. That's just the reality, and not that much happened. They just kill Maria Hill just because they feel like it, and the Skrulls are just, again, not all that interesting. The finale's ridiculous with Emilia Clarke just getting godlike powers. Just really, really dumb. Next up's going to be Agatha All Along. This is another kind of weird one for me because I watched half of this and I didn't watch the other half. I do want to put it in maybe, but I'm going to just put it in haven't seen, to be fair. I got 4 or so episodes into this, and as a 9 episode series, I'm going to be honest, I just could not watch 9 episodes of this. I'm sorry. If it was 6 episodes, I probably would have finished it. It would have went in but it just wasn't all that interesting to me. I did not find it that compelling. My brain just kept thinking, why did we even put resources and time at Marvel Studios into this project? But I'll be fair, I'll put it in haven't seen, because I technically haven't seen the whole thing, but I don't know if I'm ever going to finish this show. Maybe I will one day, but we'll see how it goes. Next up is going to be Moon Knight. I'm going to put Moon Knight in good. Maybe that's a hot take, but I just think it's a good show, honestly. And keep in mind that when I have these tiers awesome, good, and bad, it's more in terms of the MCU and not necessarily compared to other shows, because I think it's a pretty mediocre regular show, but for the MCU, I'd say it's pretty good, which honestly isn't really saying much because the MCU has pretty much just made mid-shows, but in reality, Moon Knight, I think is pretty good. It's a good time. Oscar Isaac's giving an awesome performance. I really like all the Egyptian mythology. I thought Moon Knight as a character was really cool. The dual personality thing was awesome. Well, technically there's 3. Ethan Hawke is in here as the villain, which I thought was really awesome, and again, it's kind of like a bit of a globe-trotting adventure. It's a mystery. There's some spiritual elements in here, like, what's his face? No, not Kronos. I'm forgetting his name, but, okay, Khonshu is his name. I may or may not have just looked that up, but I don't know. I just thought it was pretty cool. At the end of the day, though, it did have a lot of problems, like the way that the finale was resolved, but Marvel's always just had these bad finales, honestly, and I've got to say, though, I still definitely enjoyed it. Next up's going to be Wonder Man. This is going to be a hot take. I feel like I'm starting off with a lot of hot takes between just me not seeing Daredevil Born Again and putting Moon Knight in good. Wonder Man's going to be going in F for me. I think that from a writing perspective, this is one of the stronger MCU shows. Really good dialogue, some interesting character dynamics, and some really sincere moments. My problem with this is that I did not find the story interesting pretty much whatsoever. And from there, I just thought it was boring. I'm going to be honest. I know I already said, what did I say was boring? Secret Invasion, but in all seriousness, Wonder Man, I just found it boring. Like, I'm sorry. It's just kind of how it is. And I think Yahya Abdul-Mateen is giving a good performance. And there was a lot of potential here to be like a studio-like show, like The Studio, like with Seth Rogen. But I didn't find it fun or like thrilling at any point, I feel like, realistically. Episode 4 was absolutely incredible. But I said this in my review, which you guys should go check out. I wish that episode 4 and the premise of that was the show Wonder Man. And instead of Wonder Man, it was just called Doorman. That would have been a way cooler show, but I don't know, man. I guess we'll never end up getting that. Next up's going to be Eyes of Wakanda. Haven't seen it. It's only 4 episodes, but I just have no interest. I don't know. I saw like really mixed reviews too, so that's the reason why also. Next up's going to be Hawkeye, kind of going back to like that early MCU show era. I remember that was such a great time, man, 2021. Hawkeye's going to be going in awesome. I think that it did everything right for the most part, except the finale, which I think got way too silly at like the Rockefeller Center ice skating rink. I think that was just pretty ridiculous, and it got like way too over the top to where I'm like, what's going on here with like Kingpin and this and that? It was cool to see Kingpin, sure, but beyond that, I think they did the characters right. Hawkeye kind of having this passing the torch moment with Kate Bishop. I think that him as a mentor was awesome, and her as kind of like the young Padawan trying to learn from him was great. Haley Steinfeld brings a lot of energy to it. Yelena also being kind of brought in here. Pretty awesome. We got Florence Pugh in an MCU show, quite honestly, considering she's a massive star. And I think it's one of these things where the whole story where she's trying to get vengeance on him because she thinks that he killed her sister. Pretty awesome stuff. And the Christmas vibes are just swelling, which is another kind of like unique angle that I like that they took, kind of like the Guardians holiday special. And by the way, I don't have any like special presentations on here, but I thought it was really awesome. Next is going to be Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm going to put this show in good, okay? I think it's good. Do I really think it's really all that? Not necessarily, but I do think there's a lot of interesting stuff in here. The Flag Smashers, I think people are a bit too hard on, but I can understand that, like, Carly Morgenthau and the Flag Smashers are, like, blowing up hospitals, and they're like, hey, you know, we can't go after them or whatever. It's kind of, like, silly because I don't know why they're doing that, but either way, Bucky and Sam's, their dynamic, of course, is always going to be great. John Walker being like this morally bankrupt type of person where he's so conflicted with what he needs to do. He gets the serum, of course, and they're just trying to figure out post-Endgame, where is Captain America going? What's the direction of this person and this symbol and what it represents for the country? I thought that was really awesome. You got like Joaquin Torres in here, who's fine. I don't know, but I just thought it was pretty cool as a little like political thriller type of thing. I don't know, kind of, you know, just a fun time. And honestly, I do have some nostalgia because again, it's from like that early MCU show era. Echo is just bad. I think that with Echo, my brain just goes, okay, why did we make this? Like genuinely, why did we make this? And to an extent, I actually thought there was some potential with Echo because I'd actually add Echo as a positive to the Hawkeye show. I thought she was like a pretty decent part of that show. Like I liked her as like this little side character kind of portion, but to give her a spin-off, because technically MCU shows in reality, right, are spin-offs of the movies. I don't think that's unfair to say. So now we're doing like a spin-off of a spin-off. We're kind of getting too far. No one cares about Echo, but the biggest problem is the show wasn't really good. It takes place in like Oklahoma or wherever it was, Kansas or something. I'm pretty sure it's Oklahoma. And it was just, it got really silly. Kingpin's in here too. She like heals his trauma at the end or something. Over the top, very ridiculous, whatever. Next, that's going to be WandaVision. I'm going to put this in awesome. I really enjoy WandaVision. I feel like it tried to do something great. Again, because this is the thing. At a certain point, I don't know when I could just say this isn't a problem. I do think in the finale, it starts to fumble a little bit. But I think like almost every single MCU show has fumbled in the finale. So at a certain point, it's almost like I just had to cross them all off as like, hey, they all fumbled the finale. Let's just ignore it. But in reality, WandaVision, I think, has an awesome like type of story, the storytelling, the way it was actually shown, where at first, like episode 1, we don't really know what's going on. And as this mystery starts to unfold, as we're given bits of, information between what's going on with like Jimmy Woo and Darcy and all that stuff, but then also what's going on with Wanda inside the Hex, once we realize it's like the Hex and all that, how she's just trying to figure out the things with her kids, and then Vision. I had a good time with it. It was actually stylized and it was shot really well, which is something I really need to give them credit for, because I feel like, the MCU can be very derivative in terms of like the way that their projects look, but I like that we're going through the eras. It was just a weird, bold start to this show era, which unfortunately is not really a great era, but either way, I thought it was a really cool attempt to try to do something awesome. Next up's going to be Miss Marvel. This is a tough one for me because I do want to put this in good, but I'm kind of split. I'm like 50-50. I think I'm going to put this in good. I'll just give them the benefit of the doubt. I think this show can be a little bit kiddie at times. I think the story is like fine, but realistically, the main reason I'm even putting this in good is because I just think Miss Marvel herself is just so great, and she does so much to just carry this show. She's her little friend Bruno. I like the fact that she looks up to like Captain Marvel and all the heroes, but Iman Vellani is just giving such a great performance, and her energy is just enough to kind of carry this show. And realistically, is this like some great show? No. I think it might be like below average, but I think it's a good MCU show because we're able to kind of like watch this plot through her eyes, essentially, watch it unfold. And I think she's a lot of fun to follow, and I never like found her boring for a moment. Realistically, I mean, I'll probably drop it down to I'll be realistic here. I'll drop it down to I don't really, I think the story is pretty weak for the most part, honestly. But either way, I still think I had a pretty good time with it. Same with Wonder Man. Like, I had a decent time with Wonder Man, but, it's just how it is. Next up's going to be She-Hulk, also bad. Like, I know that this is kind of like the common take, it's bad. But I think there was genuine potential with this She-Hulk show. Like, there are a lot of these shows, man. There was so much potential, especially with, like, Secret Invasion, so much. But She-Hulk could have been cool. We're doing like this court procedural, maybe on an episodic basis. We're kind of going through different cases, but instead, there was just no through line plot from episode 1 to episode, like, I want to say 9. I think there was 9 episodes of this. The entire show just felt very lackluster, and each episode was more so about something random rather than like the actual cases. I think that her character was written to be pretty insufferable, in my opinion, which makes the show very hard to like relate to and kind of like follow when your main character is annoying. And it's different in a show like Breaking Bad, when like Walter White is technically a bad guy and he's annoying because he's written so well and he's so interesting that you want to still follow him. But she was just annoying, in my opinion. Like, everything she's saying and some of the things that she was doing, I was like, what is going on here? The villains were awful, if you even want to call them villains. And yeah, it's almost just like a Reddit show to me. Like, I'm sorry, but it really is. And next up's going to be Loki. Loki's awesome. I think Loki's the best MCU show. I'm just not going to be rating them like across tiers, so I'm just going to put it, in the tier. Loki's awesome. I love Loki. I think Loki's the one show that actually doesn't fumble the finales in both season 1 and season 2. I think both seasons are like almost equally as good, and they both try to do like slightly different things, with the first one being more with like trying to figure out who He Who Remains is and all that. And then the second one, all this complicated stuff with Mr. Timely, and then you've also got Kihu Kwan in the show. I just thought it was awesome. And next up, we've got What If. Well, I'm just going to do Ironheart first because I haven't seen Ironheart. I think Ironheart is another show that I just have no interest in watching, like just genuinely no interest, because I didn't see good reviews, and again, just no interest. I don't know if we're going to really see this character again. I have no idea what's going on with the show, and I'm just good. I'm kind of just burnt out on MCU shows, and that's coming from like a diehard fan. I have no reason to waste my time with Ironheart. I'm just going to be real. And then we've got What If. What If's another show that I actually have only seen the first season, and then I didn't watch 2 and 3. What If I could almost argue is in the bad category. I'm going to put it in haven't seen, kind of like a spoiler here, but I just think that What If, they really fumbled the bag here, because I look at Marvel Zombies and I'm like, okay, that show was better than your entire What If show. What are we doing here? I feel like some people like this show. I understand, but I think that the premises that they went with got so silly and ridiculous. Like, sure, some of them are decent, but now it's like every single episode we're just doing like either Captain Carter stuff or something like, oh, what if Darcy was with Howard the Duck, or like Party Thor? Doesn't make any sense. Something kind of cool like, oh, what if, T'Challa was Star-Lord? okay, it's a bit of a weird concept, but at least you're trying to do something, but some of these are just so ridiculous. And all this Infinity Ultron stuff, kind of cool, but also makes it a bit overpowered with the Watcher, but I just don't really have all that much interest. I don't know, I just feel like I don't really want to waste my time with a show like this, and yeah, this is going to be my final list. Honestly, I feel like it's a pretty normal list. I think the Wonder Man's probably a hot take, and the fact that I haven't seen Daredevil Born Again, but for the most part, do I really enjoy all the MCU shows? Not necessarily. If I could, I would trade in every single show here for like 2 good movies, if that makes sense. Because I just feel like there isn't really that much substance and that much great stuff going on, but I don't know. I feel like they are starting to slow it down for sure. Because we've got like Vision Quest coming up, but then there's Daredevil Born Again Season 3, and who knows what else there realistically is. But listen, guys, that's going to just about do it for today. Let me know what your top 3 and bottom 3 shows are down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.